started with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, hi there, and welcome to our regular meeting of the City of Townsend Board of Commissioners for February the 17th. We're going to start with adoption of the agenda, and this is the time when commissioners can make a suggestion if they want to add something to the agenda, they have something they want to have clarified. I've got one thing on here that I would propose that we add as part of the consent calendar. If we could add the beer board meeting minutes from January the 20th. I think they're in your packet, and so they're intended to be approved as part of the consent calendar.
I'd like to have the city manager's report pulled out.
You'd like to pull one out? Okay. Which one would you like to pull out?
The city manager's report.
City manager's report. Okay. Pull that one out.
And then also for the any new business, we didn't have any applicants in our packet until evidently tonight to look
Okay.
at.
Well, we can discuss. I thought we had applicants in the packets, but we'll check and see if there's no applicants in the packets. So,
There was email, the packets that were emailed out.
the packets that were emailed out, yeah. We had to do some clarification on whether people were interested in BZA or planning commission. So you don't think we can tackle that tonight?
I don't want to vote on anything that I haven't had a chance to review. If you put something right in front of me tonight I don't want to vote on it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much on that. All right. We can, so your suggestion is that we postpone this one till next month. Okay. All right. Any other suggestions for our agenda?
I have a question
Okay.
about the new business. The commissioners vote on the Board of Zoning Appeals, correct?
That's correct.
But you can go ahead and you get to make the decision about the planning commission, is that
Well,
correct?
that's correct, and I usually do that with feedback from the Board of Commissioners. That's correct. Okay, well, we've got two suggestions for amendments to our agenda tonight. Let's take them one at a time, and we can vote on them and see if we want to go in that manner. So the first suggestion is to add the beer board meeting minutes for January the 20th, 2026. So I'd like to make a motion that we do that. Second?
Second?
Okay. Any discussion?
Can you clarify the motion? Is the motion to add it?
Add it to the agenda.
Okay.
It's the meeting minutes were distributed in the packet. Okay. Any further discussion or questions? Okay. All in favor of adding the beer board meeting minutes for January 20th, 2026 to our consent calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that'll be added to our consent calendar. The next request was to postpone the discussion and possible action regarding filling 2 vacant seats on the city's Board of Zoning Appeals. I have a motion to postpone that to next month.
Make the motion to postpone it to next month.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion on that? Okay, all in favor of postponing the discussion on the 2 vacant seats for the City Board of Zoning Appeals, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We will postpone that until next month. And how about discussion on possible mayor's appointment to planning commission? That would be the same, Commissioner Henry?
Yeah,
Okay.
just need to email them.
Make a motion to postpone that to the next month?
And
Have a
also,
second.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor of postponing the discussion of possible mayor's appointment to planning commission to next month, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Opposed?
We'll postpone that to next month. But 4 ayes and 1 opposed.
And then also pulling the city manager's report out.
And okay, let's do that one. Proposal to pull out the city manager's report. Can I get a motion on that?
Make a motion to pull out the city manager's report.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Okay. All in favor of pulling out the city manager's report, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we'll pull that out. Okay, we're good. We're to get this. Now, the next, now that we have adopted our agenda, the first item on the agenda is the consent calendar. And so the way this operates is these reports come in advance, and we had some public input at our last meeting that indicated that they would miss hearing about some of these different reports. And we pointed out 2 things. One is that a commissioner can always ask for any of these to be pulled out, and so you've seen that happen here tonight. And the other thing is we posted these up on the website so that people can read them in advance. So we're trying to be responsive to citizen input and also to move forward in that. So, okay, so what we've done tonight, we pulled out the city manager report and we postponed the discussion on BZA vacancies as well as on discussion on the mayor's appointment to the planning commission. We postponed those tonight. Okay, now, you've had a chance, commissioners, to look at the meeting minutes and the beer board minutes and all the other reports, which include the event calendar. That was also something that we discussed at our last meeting and that we have included in the report now. That was in response to the commissioner's request. Commissioner Henry, made that request, and so we're being responsive to that. We've got the finance report in there, the fire department report, and the Parks and Rec Committee report. And so those are all the things in the consent calendar. So can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar minus the city manager's report?
Or make a motion to approve the consent calendar minus the city manager's report and add the report meeting. Second.
I believe we got it at the beer board meeting, but that's fine. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. The consent calendar then is approved. Now, that brings us down to the city manager's report. Let's get that out and we'll have some discussion on that.
So, in the first part, it talked about the community plan. I don't know if you want to read that or if you want me to read that. I have a couple of questions about that.
Okay. Yeah, that would be fine, because I think there's a number of things here in the city manager report that I'd like to highlight as well. Do you want me to take them one by one?
Sure.
Okay. So this is a report from our city manager, subject February 2026 city manager report on administrative items, community plan. Planning Commission Chair Alan Hawley and I met with representatives from ETDD to discuss the status of ETDD's obligations related to the community plan. ETDD agreed to provide the city with digital copies of all work completed to date, as well as recommendations for inclusion in Chapter 5 and 6 of the Land Use and Transportation Plan. ETDD indicated that these materials would be delivered by the end of February. The city has received the digital copies of the completed work, which have been forwarded to SE Group for review. Now, do you have questions on this one?
So are they done with their obligations and did they actually do what they were supposed to be charged with?
Yeah, and city manager gave a good report out on this at planning commission, so I'll just point to that because that meeting should be posted, and he provides a lot more detail, him and Alan Holly, who met with ETDD. But to answer your question, they haven't provided all that they're supposed to provide yet, because they're going to provide this additional information. And once we receive the additional information, then we'll see if they've met what we believe is their obligation. And so this additional information would be also subsequently reviewed by the Community Plan Advisory Group. So they haven't met the last couple of months because they haven't had anything to review. But what we're hoping is that the Community Plan Advisory Committee will have a complete copy of the draft community plan at that point, and they'll be able to review and discuss that. And it'll also be shared publicly so that people can come in and ask questions and see what's in that plan and provide feedback. So it's not only an opportunity for the Community Plan Advisory Committee to provide feedback, but it's also an opportunity to have the public take a first look at the first draft.
Will it also be shared with the planning commission, since that advisory group reports to the planning commission?
Yeah, that's right. So the Community Plan Advisory Committee is advisory to the Planning Commission.
Right.
And so the Planning Commission can attend the Community Plan Advisory Committee meeting. They can review the draft plan that will be posted so that they can take a look at it. And eventually, once the plan has the feedback of the Community Plan Advisory Committee, it will go to the Planning Commission, and that's another opportunity for them to review. That's the more formal opportunity for them to review it, for them to provide input, and also for the public to provide input.
I would like to get the same copy that the community plan members get.
It should be, but we should
No,
post.
I mean, they're going to get a hard copy. I'd like to get a hard copy
Yeah,
also.
we'll have to see how long it is, Commissioner Jenkins. It might be electronic, but we'll make sure that you get whatever they get
Okay,
and can take a look at it.
thank you.
And it should be available to anybody to take a look at as a sort of a first draft. But wait, that's not all. Once it goes to the Planning Commission, who has the primary responsibility for the land use and transportation plan or the community plan, it will also come back to this board of commissioners to take a look at and to endorse that plan. So there's yet a third opportunity for folks to take a look at it. And as we normally do during our meeting, there'll be a time for public input as well. So there'll be plenty of opportunities for this board, for the Planning Commission, for the Community Plan Advisory Committee, and 3 times for the public to take a look at this and provide input. Okay. I was going to do this during the announcements, but I'll go ahead and do it here. It's not in the city manager's report. Well, maybe I'll wait and save it so I'll properly do it under the announcements. But remind me, and I'll give one more readout from that meeting that they had with ETD. I'll do it under the announcements. I'll make it here to do it. Okay, next item in the city manager's report is the occupancy tax. I'm attending the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development Annual Conference from February 17th to February 19th. That's why the city manager's not here. During the conference, I'm scheduled to meet individually with Commissioner Ezell. I expect to gain from this conference insight into how other municipalities administer their occupancy tax and better understand the permissible use of those funds. So he's in Nashville studying up about how to use the funds that will come in from the occupancy tax. And I'm sure he'll have more to report when he gets back. Questions on that? Next one, 2026-2027 budget. We are in the process of preparing a preliminary 26-27 budget for commission review. We plan on having at least one budget workshop in March and have the budget ready for first approval at the April commission meeting. And I really applaud this because as we talked about in February, as one of our action items was try to upstream our budget planning process so we've got plenty of time to discuss it. So I applaud city manager for working on that together with the city board. Okay, next up, TCGA. I have accepted an invitation from TCGA to serve as the city representative on their board of directors. I'm looking forward to working with them and furthering the relationship between the city and our business partners. Next item.
Wait a minute. Do we think that's a good thing? Have we ever had a member of anything, a member of the city on the board of directors or any group here in town? This is a business-oriented group. Their 501c3 says they are to promote tourism in the city of Townsend. And we're going to put the city manager on their board of directors. In my opinion, that gives them the opportunity to influence city policy because they have the ear of the city manager. I'm thinking it's wrong for him to be on the board of directors.
Well, I tell you what, we can ask city manager when he comes back. My feeling is it's probably more of a liaison role, but let's get some clarity on that when he comes back. Thank you very much for that. Any other questions? Okay. Maintenance. The maintenance department performed exceptionally well during the recent back-to-back winter events. Despite equipment breakdowns, the crew maintained passable roadways by working extended weekend hours. So I'll just say shout out to Jason, Jerry, and all the folks that were really first responders. I think we did a post to the website. It was just amazing work those fellows did. So quite challenging conditions. So definitely a shout out. Building and codes. Building inspector Doug Blair continues to conduct inspections and manage active permits throughout the city. There are currently 18 open permits. Codes enforcement officer Tim Vogel continues to address code violations and assist with administrative functions as needed.
Is there any chance we can get more information in the report? For instance, I get asked about permits, and I know nothing about it. I know there's 18. I don't know anything, it just seems like if Doug would give more information, like what the permits are, not for details. They can say I have a permit 7893 Old Highway 73 to build a new house. Just because people ask this stuff, and I have no idea.
Yeah.
And the same goes for codes enforcement. A sentence that says they've addressed violations doesn't tell me much. I'd like to know more about those violations.
Well, sometimes we have codes officer.
But I'm thinking in this report, so it's documented.
Yeah, in the report, we've had different things that have been provided in the report over time. Mr. Ogle, anything from February to report out on? It's pretty cold out there.
Not much went on in February.
Okay.
Slip and sliding.
Okay. We'll take that suggestion back and see if we can get more information.
Okay.
And we'll see what else we can share on the building.
Yeah, I'm not looking for every little detail, but I'm looking for, this guy took out this permit for this. You can have an Excel file that tells these are the 18 active permits. This is the person that took out the permit, and this is what it's for in general.
Okay. I don't think he's ever reported that type of information
It seems
out.
like if he worked for me, he'd do that, because that's normal.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll take that suggestion back, and we'll talk. I'll pass that back to the city manager, and he can talk to the building inspector about that. Like I said, I've sat on this board and the planning commission for a long time. I don't recall that level of detail of information, sharing information, but we can surely ask it, because
It ought to be public record.
it might be public. Yeah, anything that's
That's the
public
reason
record,
it's
we
not,
ought to be able to.
it's not hidden.
Sure. Okay. All right, thank you. Police Department. Chief Condi reports that there's nothing new to report for the month. All operations are running smoothly and is business as usual within the police department. Traffic and patrol activities continue without issue, and the department remains fully operational and responsive to community needs. And again, just shout out to all the officers who are busy working in our weather emergency. Community Planning Advisory Committee. The Community Planning Advisory Committee will not meet until the updated land use transportation plan has been submitted by ETDD. Without the updated plan, there's no business for the community to consider. So we're hopeful that in March, that information will be available. based on what ETD has told us. Okay, that's the city manager's report for February. Any other questions? Okay, thank you for the questions and for the feedback. Next on our agenda are items on the agenda. And I'll just mention that in the Planning Commission this past month, we had 2 opportunities for public input. So another thing that's been requested, so Planning Commission now has opportunity, just like we do at the City Commission, for opportunity at the beginning, input on things that are on the agenda, and then at the end for anything else that you want to share. Do we have anyone signed up to speak on items on the agenda?
Ernie Lancaster.
Ernie? Go. All right, is it on the agenda or?
It's not on the agenda.
Okay, then you'll be at the end.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Akert, is your item on the agenda?
I've got something to talk about both places.
Okay.
I wanted to first of all tell you all that I believe the items on your consent calendar, that any member of you opts to have it discussed further, unless there's opposition to that, it doesn't require a vote.
Okay.
The other thing that I was going to talk about is the only ordinance on here that opens the door for a lot of, it seems to have been a big part of y'all's meetings in the past that I've been to, when somebody is applying, different folks are applying for event permits, and I think that removes a great deal of community from this meeting. I have no argument that the city manager or whomever he deems necessary to approve the permits is perfectly legal in most places to do that sort of thing, but that has been a very community-oriented thing that you all been doing up here, and I would think that would take a great deal away from this meeting. So I want y'all to think about that before you just approve it. And I guess the rest of mine comes up later in the meeting.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Akers. We appreciate that feedback. For that input. Anybody else signed up to speak at this time? Okay, very good. All right, Commissioners, that brings us down to the next item on our agenda, unfinished business. This is ordinance number 35326-1C, an ordinance amending the city's special event permit ordinance, transferring approval authority from the City Commission to the City Manager, and this is on second read. Let me get this up here. Okay, I read this ordinance in its entirety last time. It's not a very long ordinance, and the title basically says what it does. And since we had it on the website and I read it the last time, I'm not going to read the whole thing this time. I understand that I can do that just by reading the caption. So what we're going to discuss now is ordinance number 353-26-1C, an ordinance to amend Title 9, Chapter 5, Sections 9-503, 9-506, and 9-507 of the City of Townsend Municipal Code to grant permit approval authority to the city manager or their designee. And these sections of the ordinance are places where it says the special events get approved by the Board of Commissioners. And so what that does in each one of those sections, it changes it to the city manager, basically. So let me see if I can get a motion and a second, and we'll get this one up for discussion.
I make a motion to accept ordinance number 353-26-16.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion?
I have,
Commissioner Jenkins?
and I had to write this out because I wasn't sure how clear my mind would be tonight because I've been feeling poorly. So forgive me if I have to read it.
Just use your microphone if you could.
Okay, I'll swallow the microphone. In the fall of 2023, the mayor introduced the idea of a special event permit process and pushed for ordinance 337-23-1C, which was signed into law on December 19, 2023. Last year, the mayor negotiated a deal with Bunk Partnership to basically allow the visitor center the freedom to be the festival destination by paying the city $5,000 a year for an annual special event permit. This eliminated any oversight or input by the elected city commissioners for their events. Now, this proposal is to change the special event permit process to allow the city manager or his designee to approve special event permits. This is the final step in removing the elected commissioners, city commissioners, from being involved in the special event process, therefore washing their hands of any responsibility. Furthermore, a city designee can be anyone. It is not limited, the city manager's designee can be anyone. It is not limited in any way, shape, or form. Think about the possibilities.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Jenkins. Mr. Hibbert?
Well, if you take all the event permits out, it would speed up the meeting. But as Mr. Aker commented on, talking with people in the community, it's nice to know who's coming in, who's asking for something, and if that's not part of the process. It's important.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Hendrick. Any other comments? I'll have one myself, but okay. Commissioner Jenkins, you are correct. I was the one that proposed the special event permit process in the first place. And part of the idea there was to get a handle on the special events that happen in the city. One of the things that we do as a gateway community is that we have folks that want to come here and put on special events. Many of these events have been happening in the city for many, many years. Sometimes I think, I'm quite surprised when I see it's the 13th or 14th or 15th annual road run or something of that nature. I think it was a good idea to do that. I think it does allow the city to be able to have input and get a handle on those special events. It is a unique feature of our community. And so I did support that. I helped write that rule that's on the books. And I believe it does serve a purpose. Having said that, one of the things I also said at the time is I wanted the Board of Commissioners to have a role in approving these special events for the purpose that we get familiar with what are the special events that happen in our city. I've learned a lot of things as I've reviewed these special event applications. Some of the things that I've reviewed is that a lot of them are road races of one variety or another. A number of them provide donations and things back to our city charities. That's another thing I've learned. I think some of the event organizers have learned things along the way as well. Don't spray paint on the streets or the bicycle path. But I am aware of the fact, especially since we all voted, it wasn't just me that did it individually, to amend our ordinance, the special event ordinance, to have the annual ordinance. We did that in conjunction with quite a lot of discussion with the Blunt Partnership, and we put a number of provisions in place around the Blunt Partnership for the special events that they hold at their facility. And so what that left us with is basically all the other events that don't happen at the visitor center. And that's a lot of road races and things like that. And while I really enjoy hearing from these people, I like the parent head group that comes, and I enjoy hearing about their events. The vast majority of these, at this point, we approve. The vast majority of these events, when I turn to Chief Condi, is there any problem with this? What's your experience been with this? He provides feedback on that. We are one of the few, might be the only community that I'm aware of around here where the Board of Commissioners actually approves the special event applications individually, one by one, as a part of their commission meetings. And so we've got a lot of important business to conduct. We talked about the community plan. That's going to take quite a bit of discussion. I just feel at this point, and I said this last meeting when we passed this last meeting, that the time has come to have a different approach. It doesn't mean that that ordinance is going anywhere. The ordinance is still in place. It doesn't mean that the community can't provide feedback on special events. They can certainly provide feedback. We get a lot of feedback on certain events. And those feedback can be taken into account when approving the special event permit. And so Board of Commissioners feedback can be approved. I just think, it served its purpose. My intent wasn't that the Board of Commissioners would go on in perpetuity approving these special event applications. We've done it for going on 3 years now, and I've learned a lot, and I think, our city and our process is better for it, but I just feel like it makes sense at this point, especially now that we have, full-time city manager, city recorder. I would imagine the designee might be the other person that's in the office. We're a small but mighty team here, but when you have to have a designee, it's nice to be able to have a backup. I don't think it's going to be anybody off the street serving as a designee to provide these, approve these event applications. But that's the reason why I supported it. I don't think the community loses a whole lot. I just think the time has come that we need to focus our attention as a Board of Commissioner on other things beyond the special events application. Notwithstanding that I enjoy hearing about all their events and learning things about what's happening in our community. So that's my perspective on it, and I welcome any other commissioners to provide further feedback.
I have another question. Some people come in and ask for waivers of the fees. What is the criteria to get your fee waived? And is it legal or permissible to waive some fees and not all fees?
Yeah, that's a good point, Commissioner Hedrick. The proper place to put that, any additional guidance might be in the regulation. We're pretty flexible in terms of groups that would like to request a waiver. The city manager, I think, has the benefit of seeing how the Board of Commissioners has adjudicated that ever since that's been a possibility. So city manager would have that ability. Sometimes even a $100 fee can be, substantive to a nonprofit or something that's trying to put on an event. So I think right now what I would say is that based on the experience of how the Board of Commissioners has handled that, that would inform the city manager. But if we wanted to put more specifics in there, we could discuss that, and we could modify the regulation and try to provide guidance. I think we sort of talked about that when we added that to the special event regulation, but it became a little unwieldy. Basically just, good judgment. But if we wanted to do that, there is a way to bring that up and discuss that.
I have one comment. We're writing this not necessarily for the current city manager, but for the next one and the next one and the next one. That city manager may not have as much experience with waiving fees or that sort of thing. So I think you have to remember that when you're looking at this.
Well, I would guess that in the other city, that the city managers turn over and they have to learn things about how to do the job. If we wanted to provide any further guidance, to the city manager on that, we could put it in the regulation. And then it's there in perpetuity. But again, I think, you hire a city manager so that they can use judgment. And I would hope that whoever comes next as city manager, whoever those board of commissioners would be, would hire somebody that would have good judgment and be able to apply the city ordinances. And if we feel like the city ordinance is lacking, then I'm happy to take it up and try to put a little more guidance in the ordinance. I think that's where it would belong, and that's where everybody could understand it.
I think that there needs to be more clarification about who we could select the designee from. Does it have to be a city employee? Does it have to be a citizen of the city? Can it be anybody in BOC County? I think you've got to put that in there. You're assuming he's going to take the clerk and have that be the designee, but he might have the codes guy do it. Or he might have, I don't know, the principal of the high school do it. I just think you gotta say who this designee, you gotta put boundaries around it. Because the next guy, or the one after that, could have a whole different interpretation of what designee means. So I just think you gotta put some boundaries around that in writing.
What would you suggest?
Well, that's the reason I wanted to discuss it. I shouldn't be the only one that has an opinion. Should it be a city employee? That's one way to say the designee has to be a city employee. That's one way of narrowing it down.
Or add city recorder, city manager, or city recorder.
Yeah.
How about we said something like this? City manager or their designee, comma, a city employee. Is that good?
That would help, yes.
Okay, let me take a quick look and see. This is short, but we can maybe do this one on the fly. Y'all help me out. Look and see where else you think this can go.
Or, okay, so what if he was out, or city manager was out with an extended illness? Who would take on those responsibilities after that? I don't know.
Well, now, we have probably continuity of operations.
Yes.
So, but are you suggesting that we should make this designee as follows the continuity of operations? What's your suggestion? I made a proposal. Commissioner Jenkins seemed to think that might be sufficient.
Or if you don't say city recorder, do you just want anybody to make that designation? It looks like there would be a hierarchy.
Well, whoever makes that decision, whoever the designee is going to be able to have access to the application and be able to read over the application. So I would think it would be probably an employee.
Yeah. I mean, there gets to be a point in which the value of common sense, I think, starts to enter in here. So here's what I would propose. I see three places here. 9-503, 9-507, another place there. So here's what I would propose as amending this, where it says 9-503, permit or notice required. Last line, well, maybe it's the whole thing. Permit required. No person, firm, corporation, or organization shall participate in, advertise for, in any way promote, organize, control, manage, solicit, or induce participation in a special event or private gathering where a temporary street closure is requested unless a special event packet has first been submitted to and approved by the city manager or their designee. Insert, comma, a city employee. Next place. Criteria for approval. All applications for a special event permit shall be submitted to the city recorder and shall be reviewed and acted upon by the city manager or their designee, comma, insert a city employee. And then the third place, under number 2, the city manager or their designee, comma, insert a city manager or city employee, comma, shall have the right to deny a special event permit for any reason deemed sufficient, including but not limited to.
You missed the one in number 1.
Say again?
There's that phrase in number 1 above that.
Okay. When reviewing,
At least mine's highlighted if you wanted to
oh, okay,
make sure you have all 4.
yeah, okay, thank you, Commissioner Martin.
You're welcome, sir.
This is number 1. When reviewing a request for a special event permit, the city manager or their designee, comma, a city employee may establish, insert a city employee, may establish any additional conditions deemed necessary to ensure compatibility with adjacent land uses and to minimize potential adverse impacts on nearby uses, including but not limited to the following. Okay, so there's 4 places where we have proposed to follow designee with, comma, a city employee.
And then on the very last page, 2025 should be 2026.
Very last page. I'm seeing four places. Is there another place?
2025 should be 2026.
Passed and adopted by the Board of Commissioners? Passed and adopted. Well, this is a resolution. I think we have to have that because we're the ones that are actually passing. I don't think this is part of the text of the ordinance on this last page. This is the text in the ordinance. This is the part of the resolution. City Reporter, am I right on that? On this last page here? Where
Yes,
it's
I
passed?
think she was just pointing out that it says 2025.
Oh, 2025, I'm sorry. Thank you, Commissioner. 2026. I did say I was going to put my hearing aids in. I didn't do it. Thank you very much for your patience with me. Okay. Now, with that, I would like to propose that we amend ordinance number 353-26-1C, as we just discussed, by adding a city employee after each time it says their designee in 4 places, and changing 2025 to 2026 on the last page. Can I get a second on that?
Second?
Okay. Any further discussion?
I'd like for you to clarify the motion. Is it to vote on this ordinance, or is it to vote on the changes that we're proposing to the ordinance?
Well, I tell you what, let's vote on the changes, and then we'll vote on the ordinance.
Okay.
Okay? So,
Because we had a motion and a second on the floor already, so do we need to vote? I need clarification on how we do this with an amendment.
The clarification can come first. You can vote on it, and then you vote on the whole thing.
Let's-
That's my understanding of it.
let's clarify the motion. The motion is to amend the ordinance by adding a city employee in 4 places after the places where it says or their designee, and by changing 2025 to 2026 on the last page. Second?
Second.
Second. Okay. All in favor of amending the ordinance?
Somebody needs to make a motion.
I made the motion. Sorry, I made it. Guess because I was doing all the talking. In favor of amending the ordinance, according to the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And now the ordinance is amended. Now, can we get we had a motion and a second on the table to approve the ordinance. So now we're going to come back to that. Any further discussion? No. Okay, all in favor of approving ordinance 353-26-1C, an ordinance to amend Title IX, Chapter 5, Sections 9-503, 9-506, and 9-507 of the City of Townsend Municipal Code to grant permit approval authority to the city manager for their designee. Say aye. Aye. Okay, opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, the ordinance passes with 3 aye votes and 2 opposed, that being Commissioner Jenkins and Heather. Okay. Now, let's go back to our agenda. Under new business, we've decided to postpone the discussion on possible action regarding filling 2 vacant seats on the city's Board of Zoning Appeals and the discussion of possible mayor's appointment to the Planning Commission. I would just say that you've gotten that information now, so let's try to be sure that we discuss it next time.
And since it's been this hasn't been brought up for a while, if new people want to put in their name for either one of those, when do they need to have their names in by?
Our call for expressions of interest is always open.
Okay.
Okay.
May I bring up something that I should have brought up earlier? We passed an ordinance on making dumpsters animal-proof, and I've seen very little progress with that. I see dumpsters open, I see dumpsters without locks. When is the deadline for people to start doing that, and when will we start enforcing that ordinance?
Yeah, my understanding is that we've already reached that, so that ordinance is already in effect, and that's to put the block on the dumpsters. And so we'll have to ask city manager and codes enforcement officer what their plan is for enforcement of that ordinance. So how about we do that, and I'll consider that input on items on the agenda, but we'll do that, Commissioner Jenkins, and we'll come back next meeting. Okay. Now, let's see if we have any other public input for items not on the agenda. Mr. Lancaster, it might be your turn.
First, thank you for the opportunity to talk. I really wasn't expecting to talk. I expected there to be an auditorium full of torch-bearing citizens here tonight. And what I'm about to talk about, I hope it's not a surprise to anybody here, our elected officials. I would hope that you all would read the Monk County's newspaper of record, the Daily Times. That's where I'm getting my information. It's been proposed by the property assessor for Blount County to reduce the number of years between reassessments of property taxes from 3 years to 2 years. The state says that it has to be reappraised every 4 or 5 years. And out of nowhere, last week it was in the newspaper that the city of Maryville, the commission, had voted to allow reappraisals every 2 years at the property assessor's request. That's ORR. I don't know what it's supposed to be. As I said, I really wasn't expecting to talk. But, and then the next day, the city of Alcoa okayed it. And the reason that they had asked before to have a 2-year reassessment, and the state said no, because no cities had okayed it. They were against it. All of a sudden they're for it. Well, I'm way against 2-year reappraisal of property taxes. I'm a retiree. I live on a fixed income, and having a property tax rate for 3 years gives me a clue of how to budget my money. And I'm afraid that if it's knocked down to 2 years, then it's going to be a real roller coaster ride for me. And the cynic in me believes that every 2-year reappraisal is just gonna be a rocket ship to up our taxes every 2 years. So anyway, I encourage this body to take a vote. Do you support a 2-year reappraisal or no? Rockford came up here just a couple days ago and they said no. The appraiser gave a real long-winded reason why they wanted to do that. It basically fluctuations in the amount. But my appraisal, I owed the state, but owed the county $1,600 at the end of this month. And as I said, I budgeted for it, and we get services for it. I'm not, you gotta pay taxes, but come on, every 3 or 4 years, not 2 years, so I know how to budget. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Lancaster, for bringing that to the board's attention. It sounds like something we might need to get some citizen input on, and would benefit if we wanted to put it on an agenda for next month to talk about. What's your pleasure, commissioners? Any feedback?
I agree with Mr. Lancaster. And I'd like to applaud Mr. Baker for being the only one in the Blount County Commission to vote no for that.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see about getting it on our agenda for next month. That'll give people a chance to come in and give us some feedback. So, thank you very much. Any other public input for items not on the agenda?
So the taxation change is what I was planning to talk about. I'm the only commissioner that voted no to stop it. You all have 2 commissioners from this district as well as the other 19 of us' telephone numbers available to you. And I would strongly recommend you taking a real solid look at the situation and not wait till next month, because next month it will not matter. The vote happens Thursday night at 6 o'clock in Blount County Courthouse. I would urge you to talk to your constituents, talk to your commissioners, Mr. Bowers and Mr. Joplin, as well as any of the other commissioners, because it's going to happen if people don't speak up. And anybody can try to sell the importance of it happening on what it's going to do for the budget, but what it's going to do to the people is a shame. And I would urge you all to get real serious about looking into the situation and seeing how you feel. And if you are anywhere near as opposed to it as me and my family and everybody that I've talked to is, you need to be at the courthouse Thursday night at 6 o'clock and be ready to talk about it, because it is serious and it is going to happen if some people don't get up and talk about stopping it. It passed the planning committee, our planning meeting last week, and I was the only no vote. And it's appalling to me, but if y'all want to pay more taxes, sign yourselves up. But otherwise, I'd get on the phone and wear it out, because it is important. And y'all can not like me all you want to, but I'm trying to share something that's very important that's put in front of the Blount County Commission, and it passed with only my no vote. So y'all got two commissioners from up here that definitely need to hear from you, and all the rest of us could hear from you, and it wouldn't hurt a thing. All the numbers are on the public record. The website's really simple. It has all of us' telephone numbers on it. I would encourage you to reach out to people and encourage them to say no, because there is no good side to seeing our taxes go up every 2 years. There's no good side to that. They're trying to sell that it is beneficial for people that are having tax freezes for that to happen, but for some reason or other, none of the 94 other counties have done it. We would be the first. So,
All right.
take that however you want.
Well, thank you, Mr. Aker. Thanks for clarifying that this is up for a vote at the Blount County Commission on Thursday night.
Yes,
So that doesn't allow us to have time to put it on our agenda for the next month. Y'all voted at your planning meeting to put it on the agenda for
Yes.
Thursday night. That's what you were
correct.
indicating you opposed, was even putting it on the agenda.
Correct.
All right, well, thank you very much. Sounds like there's opportunities for folks to reach out to their county commissioners. We do have county commissioners from this area, so they can reach out, provide feedback, and to attend that Blount County Commission on Thursday night on the 6th. Any other public input for items not on the agenda? Commissioners, any other items? Let's see, we're down to announcements and statements. I did want to announce that one of the things that came out of the city manager and the chair from the planning commission's meeting with the East Tennessee Development District is that we will be assigned a new city planner. And so beginning in March, we will have Ms. Laura Smith will be assigned to Townsend as our new city planner. And so I think there was quite some discussion about our needs for a city planner. And I think that the city manager and the chair of the planning commission, Alan Hawley, did a good job advocating for our needs, not only to address the issue with the community plan, but also with being able to get the planning services that we need. So I did want to share that announcement. I think that's going to be a real positive development, and I applaud city manager and the chair of the planning commission for doing it. Commissioner Hedrick?
This isn't on here, but for some reason, last February we had a workshop of all the things that we wanted to accomplish that were quick and easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say the only thing we accomplished was getting B1 or residents back in B1, and that wasn't until last fall, just a few months ago. So I think we kind of need to start having workshops or just take action to do some of those things on there. We talk about our regulations and stuff like that. We talk about photographs, all these other things. We talk about it, but we haven't done it. We need to start doing things.
Yeah, I think a workshop could be good to go back and revisit that list. I think we've done more than just add residences back into the B1. So there have been a number of things that we've done, important things. Passing an occupancy tax, I think, was one of the things that we discussed. That was a significant thing that we've done for the city. But I don't disagree with you. I think a workshop would be good. We could take that list out, see what we got done, and what we still would like to do. We have not moved forward on a noise ordinance. So we had talked about at that time moving to a content neutral type of noise ordinance, but we did not make much progress on that. So. But there were other things, I think, on that list that we have gotten done. We've accomplished quite a lot in the last year, including going out on a big recruitment process and hiring a new city manager, which is no small undertaking, and this Board of Commissioners spent a long time doing that as well. And so we've done a lot of things that would be good to take stock of and a workshop and then see what else we need to do. So,
Could we go ahead and set up a date in March for our budget meeting and maybe a workshop at that time?
I'll give it on to check to see if
Okay.
check to see.
okay. Yeah, I
We
think
just
that'd
send a text out so we can get something on the books, okay.
Okay, I think that's the only announcement that I have, but I did want to share that with you. Anything else, Commissioners? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.